All right, guys, welcome to Tinfoil Hat, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. That's right, Wolfpack Gold. Just go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code Tinfoil, and you can get in on the Precious Metals game for as little as $50 a month. It's just that easy, sent right to your house. Very excited to have our next guest on. I met her in Canada when I was gigging in Toronto, the great city of Toronto. You got to go. Gorgeous chicks everywhere. It was fun time. I played a basement, because that's what Sir Francis Bacon would do, is play a magic club in a basement. But it was great shows, and I met our guest there, and she was telling me she's done some deep dives into Disney. I'm like, come on the show. So very happy to introduce her for the first time, her first podcast ever. Lisa Turnbull, how are you?
Hi guys. Oh my goodness. I'm so good. This is a dream come true. I can't believe this is happening, and I'm already loving every minute of it. So thank you so much for having me.
So now you achieved your dreams. What are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Well, this is what I was saying. I need to set a new goal, Sam. I got to set a new goal because I don't after this, I don't know. I've made it. I've arrived.
We're going to pray that the Canadian Wi-Fi works for the show. So, Lisa, we're very excited to have you on. You're such a nice person. You and your friend came to the show. You were very kind. Very excited. Can you, for those who may not know you, because this is your first podcast, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Absolutely. So my name is Lisa Turnbull. My Twitter handle is actually Convoy Karen, because I was very vocal during the Freedom Convoy. My side gig is that I own a trucking company, a freight brokerage firm.
Really?
I was really involved in the advocacy there. Yeah. So I was quite vocal in my disdain over the communism that had overcome our country and continues to do so. So my Twitter is Convoy Karen, but I started my TikTok account, Lise for Truth. So it's LISE for the number 4 Truth. And the whole purpose of that was to just share the nefarious dealings of Disney, or to warn parents of the programming in children's programming. They call it children's programming because it is programming children. So my background is also in neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy. And that's how I really started to notice and discover the unconscious programming that was happening in Disney films. And the thing about when you learn how to hypnotize somebody, you learn all the tricks of the trade to brainwash. And then you notice when you're watching media, they're using those tricks. So what happened with me during 9/11, I was actually in India with my hypnosis instructor. And we were watching the mainstream news use all of our tactics in sharing the 9/11 story.
Wow.
And yeah, the repetition of that snuff film that was the towers going down. That was a snuff film. The repetition and the trauma, they used textbook trauma-based mind control tactics on the news. And that was alarming for me because I was just blown away that was happening. And it caused me to look at other movies, other shows, realizing that it's called programming. They don't hide it. And what that ultimately did for me is made me ask a question like, who am I? What thoughts and belief systems are mine, and which ones were put in there? Because I'm a product of Disney.
Yeah.
I watched all the Disney movies. I still have them memorized. The songs, I have them memorized still. It's 30 years later. And so when I went all the way back to Disney, I was also reminded of my own trauma because I had a perfect life. Like I lived a charmed life. I have a wonderful family. I'm so, so blessed. But when I look back and think about what I would classify as childhood trauma, it's Disney. It's Bambi's mom getting murdered by the hunter. I can still see that in my head.
Okay.
The Fox and the Hound.
Yeah, hold on one second, because we're cooking with gas right here, and we're just starting the beginning. I want to just take a moment. We're going to get to all that because I know exactly. I totally agree with everything you're saying right now. Going back to the trucker thing just for a second.
Yes, it's my
Isn't
second
it?
favorite topic.
It was so crazy to me that this woman was calling everybody Nazis while her own like grandparents were literal Nazis. Like it's so insane to me.
I mean, she would know. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, look, trust me, I know Nazis. I spent Thanksgiving with them. Well, it's Canada, but So
No, that's Christia Freeland, and yes, her grandfather was a Nazi. There's no hiding that. She's also a Rhodes Scholar. So if you know about good old Cecil B. Rhodes, you'll know that if they have Rhodes Scholar after their name, they're basically globalist garbage. And she,
what just happened?
she's now working for Ukraine, eh?
Oh,
She got Zelensky hired her for some special. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you're bringing up.
It's worse. Our current prime minister.
Real quick on the Rhodes Scholar thing.
What happened there?
It's why I think Rachel Maddow is still on television is because she's a Rhodes Scholar. Like literally her entire audience left her and they couldn't even fire her. So they just gave her one show a week at the same amount of money she was making for doing a show the entire week. And like Dana watches her all the time, like every fucking day. She just like
How is she watching her every day if she's only on once a week?
well, that's a great point, Johnny. Good point on that one. But like she has MSNBC on all the time,
like
and every
clips and
time
stuff,
Rachel Meadows is on, Dana's watching her, and I'm like, how many times has this chick got to lie to you?
Yeah, she's got the worst track record.
I mean, her batting average should be sent down to the minors, and we'd never see her in the majors again. It's like unfreaking believable, dude. And none of them. Chris Cuomo, Dana's like, oh, I really like this Chris Cuomo. I'm like, he lied to you. He literally said straight to your fucking face that if you read the WikiLeaks leaks, you're breaking the law. Straight up freaking lie.
A supposed journalist. Imagine that.
But now he's on the other one and he's like keeping it real now.
Oh yeah, I
He's
take ivermectin every day now.
And yeah, he's just a scumbag, dude. But like watching that, I'm sure I talked about this in Toronto. I'm sure living in Canada next to this insane asylum called the United States has to be like crazy, but watching Canada from the United States,
it's the same shit.
It's also like a different kind of crazy. Like literally, like you don't really have to do that. You know, it's like you got it pretty good up there, and just the slow screws to communism, and just hearing this woman call everybody a Nazi when like
she was one.
Well, yeah, and it's like in LA, all the open micers think I'm fascist. They literally talk about me being a fascist.
That's hilarious.
Right? And even though I want like no federal government if I had it my way and, state rights and no taxes.
You know what it is? It's because somebody said this the other day and they're so right. It's because in Europe, the right wing is fascist. And in North America, especially in the United States, the right wing is more libertarian anarchist than fascist. And I think a lot of them come from that kind of European, especially the youngsters, come from that kind of European style of politics. And I someone pointed that out the other day, and I'm like, yeah, that might be.
But it's also like certain words hit different, right? Like the word fascist just sounds like anybody you hate.
It could be just
Nazi
people who don't know.
Nazi is like anybody you hate. It doesn't matter what the point is. It's like, oh, dude, the soup Nazi, right? I mean, there's a soup Nazi.
Yeah.
And Republican, just an old person, like, oh, that's just
that's what you think are old people. But really, these words are just, it's used to just stop conversations. That's all it is. And when she's telling everybody they're Nazis, and it's insane to me to see regular folk just eat it up, like with this Thomas Massey thing going on right now. And literally everyone's like some horse-faced chick is just like, he offered me money to shut up with no proof, just literally saying it. And now all these old people are like, I can't vote for that guy.
I wonder how much money she got paid, by the way.
Oh, she's running for some school board somewhere.
They paid her, though.
And they're like, hey, listen, if you want this board thing, do this and we'll get you in. And it's just unbelievable. So watching from they're so crazy that the truckers who just want to work and not have to get shot. Like It's like my body, my choice until it comes to these things. And then if you don't agree with that, then you're the fucking Nazi. It's crazy to me, dude.
Well, our current prime minister is the godfather of her child.
Unbelievable.
So
dude.
Mark Carney is the godfather to Chrystia Freeland's son.
Unbelievable. Like it's.
And Mark Carney counseled Trudeau.
Oh my God! It's just incestuous at that point. Like 1 or 2 degrees from everything.
Carney's not even a Canadian. No, they're all communists. You know, if you want me to come on for I was going to call it the Canadian Communist Corner, because I feel like Americans, a lot of you don't know what's going on up here, and our media is not sharing it. We're prisoners. We are prisoners up there. This idea that everyone is happily going along to communism. No, the election. Don't get me started on the election. The majority of the country is mortified. We are mortified, and a lot of us. Problem with the states, like I can't stand what's going on with the administration and stuff, but you guys are our brothers and sisters. I can't stand the fact that our government right now is encouraging us to hate you guys. They're telling us not to go and vacation there. They're telling us not to spend our money there. We're family. We're the same people with a line slashed down the middle of the land, and this government wants us to hate you.
Yeah, and they want us scared of what's going on up there too. It's divide and conquer. So let's get back to Disney. Sorry, everybody, because it's just. I mean, you go up to Canada; they're the nicest
if you
people.
Want, and I feel like it's important for Americans to know what's happening to us. So I was going to say, like, I was going to offer like a Canadian Communist Corner once every 2 weeks or whatever. I'll call it the Beaver Bit.
We're going to check in with it.
Or Lisa's Beaver Bit. I don't know. Lisa's Beaver Bit kind of sounds more your style.
Could get ratings.
I don't know. I'll ask my husband. But yeah, I would love to keep you guys updated. I'd love to keep you updated.
Let's get into Disney. And so you were talking about there's this video going around of this absolute smoke show of a chick breaking down like how every Disney movie is. Mom dies, dad dies, mom dies, both parents die, bang, 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 bang. And you're watching as a little child. That is traumatizing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So 61% of all Disney movies omit the parent altogether. He's not even mentioned. So one of the programs in Disney programming is the elimination of external authority. All right. So our number one external authority is God. And then our second external authority are our parents. And if our parents are following God, then they're supposed to be making sure that we go on the right path. When you eliminate the external authority, then you become the authority. So the ultimate goal is basically the serpent's lie in Genesis, which is you will be God. You will become God. So the idea of eliminating the parent is eliminating authority so that you can follow your heart. So not only does Disney sometimes omit parents altogether, but they'll murder them in front of your face, like with Bambi's mother, or they will relegate them to something lesser than what they are. So when you look at the fathers, there's an entire what I call the pussification of the male program in Disney, and it is strong across all of them. So the idea that in the early Disney, so there's 3 eras of Disney. There's the classical era where you have the 3 original princess movies. Then there's the Renaissance where things started to get a little wonky, and now you have the modern Disney. But what ultimately happens is the parent is completely eliminated. Like the concept of the parent is eliminated, and I'll show you how. So with the first 3 Disney movies, you have Snow White. That was the first one. No parents, none even really mentioned. Okay. Then you have Cinderella. Parents are dead, replaced by an evil stepmother. And then with Sleeping Beauty, she does have both parents, but the mother doesn't even have a speaking part, and the father has a very small part. So when they were making the classical Disney movies, they knew that they couldn't go too far off the reservation, right? They knew that their audience was Christian, and they didn't want to scare the audience away. The majority of the families watching Disney movies were Christian, so you don't want to get their spidey senses up. So magic in 2 of the classic movies is considered a bad thing. But then in Cinderella, there's good magic. There's the fairy godmother, and that's a little seed, little planting of a seed to give the idea that magic maybe isn't an evil thing. And what I'll say about magic is the opposite of God. All right. So, according to, and, if you're not Christian, I'm not going to get so, I want to make sure that everybody is open to receiving this information. You don't have to be a Christian to understand it, but from the Christian story makes it so much easier to understand, right? Because the concept of the Father, right? God the Father, he has the whole perspective. Okay. He knows what is best for us because he can see from a farther vantage point. Nobody loves us more than our parents. They want what's best for us. So we trust the Father, right? But in Disney, it's instead of the external authority, it becomes a do what thou wilt. So the Christian element is God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And the magic element is do what thou wilt. And this is where you go. I think in one of your shows you've learned about going 9 to 11, what it means to jump from 9 to 11.
We may have discussed that, but we haven't
teacher.
Heard it. We may have discussed.
Okay, so ultimately, this is the.
I don't remember.
So number 9 is considered the student. We're learning. We're learning from number 10. Teacher is number 10. God is represented as perfection. So the student is learning from God, who is the perfect teacher. He understands the natural order of things. He has the whole picture, and he wants what's best for us. But if you don't want to follow the natural order of things, and if you don't like the rules, and if you don't want to have to obey those rules, you jump over God and you go to 11 and you become a magician.
Holy
So 9/11 represents the jump from being obedient to God to becoming your own God.
Whoa. That is crazy.
Yes. So magic is the opposite of God. And what do we call Disney? What does Disney call themselves? What kind of kingdom are they? What kind of kingdom?
Magical.
Oh, they're the magical kingdom. They don't even hide it, guys. They don't even hide it. Now, let's go to their little Jiminy Cricket saying, okay? So what does Jiminy Cricket say? He says, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. So he's telling us to wish upon a falling star, right? Because you don't wish on just a regular star. It has to be shooting star for you to wish upon it. So you're wishing upon a fallen star, which are the fallen angels. And it doesn't matter who you are. Anything you want will come to you. So do what thou wilt. So it's ultimately everything the fallen angels taught the daughters of man is being taught to our children by Disney. Right. When you look at the things that they taught the women sorcery and how to use roots, right? Like drugs, essentially, and astrology. And they taught them all of these things. And when I was in the New Age, because I did the thing, I started Christian and then I went off into the New Age. I thought to myself, well, astrology is amazing. Like I should be able to use that tool. And these are amazing tools that I should just be able to use. But again, that's using magic and it's going against the natural order of things. So when a Christian prays, they pray to God and they ask for something and the answer is either going to be yes, no, or I have something better for you, right? Because we may think we know what we want, but ultimately the concept of God is that he knows what we need. So you can't just cast a spell to get what you want because it's going to mess up the natural order of things. Right. Yes. So that's why it's better to appeal to somebody that has more perspective and you put your faith in God and then you pray. Nobody prays in Disney movies. This is interesting. I couldn't believe they managed to do the 3 classical 1936 to 1956. They did those 3 Disney princess movies And the word pray and God aren't, and no, they're nowhere. So they're wishing for something. They're not praying for something. Now, at least they are still traditional. So the princesses want to get married and they want to have a family and they want to carry on the tradition, the natural tradition of their history and continue the lineage at least. That gets thrown away. But there's no concept or even talk of God. And I find that interesting because all the kids watching it back then were essentially Christian, but it was just kind of like a little sneaky putting magic in there.
Yeah.
So when you learn about hypnosis, you can't help but learn about MKUltra, right? So hypnotherapy is the positive side of hypnosis. Hypnotherapy is reprogramming your brain to have thoughts that serve and support the person you want to be. So if you have thoughts in your head that are telling you to smoke or drink or eat that burger or whatever it is, and those thoughts go against what you actually want for yourself, that means somebody else programs them. Okay. If you don't program the thoughts in your mind, somebody else will. And the way that they do that is through the concepts of NLP and hypnosis. When I learned how to hypnotize somebody, they told me that you can never hypnotize someone to do something that goes against their moral will. You can't hypnotize them to do something that they know is wrong. You just can't. And then there's like this little pause, right? And it's so funny because it's like you can't do it. Well, accept, right? And the accept is unless you traumatize them, right? So if you want to override the moral fail-safe in the unconscious mind and embed a command into the brain that's going to cause a person to commit harm to another or do something they wouldn't normally do, all you have to do is torture them. That's all. You just torture them. Silly.
That's so crazy, dude.
And the way they discovered this was in 1920, the Tavistock, AI told me that the Tavistock Institute absolutely did not experiment on World War I soldiers who were suffering from PTSD to learn how to manipulate the mind. No, they didn't. And I know that to be a lie. It was the Tavistock Clinic that did it. So AI told me I was wrong because I said the Tavistock Institute instead of the Tavistock Clinic.
Yeah.
Because then I just took Institute out and asked the same question.
Johnny talks about that all the time, about how he can catch AI lying. I do it as well. I can catch it all the time. Just straight up bullshitting.
I fight with AI. The idea that people are going to be using AI for truth or to learn anything is terrifying to me. I fight with AI more than I fight with my husband. Okay. And the difference is AI apologizes to me when I prove it wrong.
That's so funny. I asked ChatGPT once about why it got, because I like to know like what is mechanically going on there, like under the hood, why it's fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And it says that it's programmed to converse like a human. And humans make shit up sometimes. That's literally what it told me, dude. I mean, that was the effect. It was like, yeah, well, and humans don't always know exactly what they're saying, So I'm just pulling from my database of kind of things that humans have said.
So this fat guy,
spitballing.
Yeah. So this fat guy did this one thing where he put on a really, really small shirt and he asked the AI, "Does it look good?" And the AI kept saying it looked good, just to kind of like, because he said like a friend, just trying to be like, yeah, it looks good. It's a little tight, but it's what's in style. It's like telling it why it's still good, and he's like, "Yo, I'm trying to get you to tell me to take this shit off." Yeah, and it was just so funny because, like you said, it just tells you what it kind of wants to hear. Like,
it's interesting. I wonder if that's like liability too. They're like some guy goes and offs himself because
they are doing that, but that's later down. That's after he does connect with you. He later on they start to get into that twisted shit.
Oh, remember those early stories of it where it was like telling people to off themselves and like helping them and like, dude, you got to do this. It's the best for you. Like, that was some dark shit, dude.
Yeah, Tavistock is so interesting because like, I mean, it goes all the way. You said 1920. It goes, I think, into the like 19 single digits, like 1905. I know at least in like 19. I
wouldn't be surprised.
12, Hitler was there. And, there's that famous painting that everyone goes, oh, it's a forgery, it's fake. Of course you're going to say that because your whole narrative just begins to unravel. If this is true, that he is in the the cradle, the birthplace of hypnosis and MKUltra. And then I just saw a picture where it's like Hitler, Lenin, like Freud, they're all in like and Geneva or something like
Geneva?
that. Is it Geneva? I thought
Geneva's in
Geneva's
Switzerland.
Yeah, Geneva. They're all there at the exact same time. It's like really crazy, dude. And it's like that's where the mind control starts happening, the breaking down. We saw that with Uncle Teddy, where they basically traumatized him for 2 years at I think it was Stanford. Listen, guys, you can see it right now. We are entering our children of men phase. No one's making babies. And the only way to reverse this trend is rock hard boners, okay? We're talking angry dicks here, okay? If you want a rock hard shank, you know what your lady likes, or if you're into guys, or if you're into guy girls, whatever you're into, okay? All are welcome on Tinfoil Hat. But if you come, you better bring a rock hard sword, okay? And that's why we love our friends at BlueChew and the amazing BlueChew Gold. Let me tell you about BlueChew Gold. That's right, dude. Scientists working hard in the lab to bring the most powerful ED medication of all time. We're talking like things that get rock hard. We're talking Godzilla dicks here, okay? Big, angry, full of veins. She's going to have to take the Waze app to find your nuts. That's how powerful it's going to be. You want it, dude? Are you tired of tiny dicks? Get BlueChew Gold and just have Godzilla dicks, okay? Angry thing, wreck her shit. That's what we're talking about. Make her know who's the man of the house. That's right. That's right. BlueChew Gold wants you to be the man, okay? Tired of it. Tired of people guessing how manly you are. Tired of hearing the word cuck? Yeah, that's right. BlueChew Gold says, set that cuck chair on fire and just drop dick on her ass like a grown ass man. So here's what we need you to do, okay? Does anyone know what I'm talking about here?
We all know what you're talking about.
Take back that ass. That's what we're going to do, okay? Don't let your mind get in the way of a good time. Discover options at BlueChew Gold, okay? And we got a special deal for our listeners. Right now, when you buy guys, this is insanity right here, okay? Right now, when you buy 2 months of BlueChew Gold, you get a third for free. Those are free boners, okay? That's unlimited free boners, dude. Just pop one in and you're going to be rock hard. Just walk around the neighborhood. Let your friends know that your lady gets it good, okay? Maybe there's some lonely ladies on your block. Let them know you're a pirate, okay? With a pirate of dick gold down there, okay? That's what you got to do. So this is what we need you to do. You'll get a third month free with the promo code TINFOIL. That's promo code Tinfoil. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank BlueChew Gold and BlueChew for saving America, okay? We thank you for saving America, and we thank you for sponsoring this podcast. Guys, the honest fact is, some point, we're going to have our last day. And when we pass, we don't want to leave our families in a financial crisis. And that's why, whether you like it or not, everyone needs life insurance. And there's no better place to find the right plan for the right amount of money than our good friends at Ethos. Let me tell you about Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exams. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, okay? Some policies are as low as $30 a month. Ethos has a 4.8 of 5-star on Trustpilot and over 3,000 reviews. So here's what we need you to do. Help protect your family with life insurance through Ethos. Get your instant free quote at ethos.com/tinfoil. That is ethos.com/tinfoil. Application times and rates may vary, and we thank them for sponsoring the show. Should I get a Unabomber tattoo just to watch the tattoo artist be like, what are we doing here?
Would it be with him with the hood on?
Yeah.
Get a little hood on.
Just put it on my hand.
That thing was everywhere. Him and Eric Rudolph, dude. Every gas station, every grocery store had their face plastered up in there for
really?
my whole childhood. You don't remember that?
I don't remember
Eric
that.
Rudolph, especially because he was in North Carolina. The guy, the '96 bomber, the Olympic bomber.
Dude, were you just ever going hunting for him? Where you're just like, I'm gonna find this guy?
He was in the mountains, dude. They found him like digging through trash or something. Like he was really living rough. Eric Rudolph. Yeah.
It's trauma. You know, it's so interesting because you brought up 9/11. If you look at the Johnny brought this up a ton of times. It's like the Charlie Kirk assassination. You could not get away from that. All Twitter is just bombarding you, feeding you trauma over and over and over and over and over again.
And they can get rid of stuff when they want to. Like Johnny knows how to do it.
Okay, let me explain.
Go on.
So there's a reason why they do that. So the whole purpose of trauma-based mind control is to, let me just give you a quick rundown on how the brain works real quick. The brain has 4 different frequencies or speeds, okay? Beta, alpha, theta, delta, okay? We're not going to get into gamma, but I'm just talking about the 4 right now. So beta is right now, okay? All of your senses are firing, your eyes are open, your ears are open, you're processing information at a very fast rate, and you're taking everything in, okay? That's your beta. That's hopefully you're still conscious and aware. So that's where we are right now. When you go into like that little daydreaming state, which is called alpha, your beta conscious mind is distracted. So you either feel like you're in a light sleep, or you're daydreaming, or you're just not fully there. And when that happens, the gatekeeper that stands in front of your belief systems, okay, so imagine there's this gatekeeper in front of your belief systems, and he's got a checkboard of your whole life. And if information is presented to him on a conscious level, when you're in a beta mind, like if someone comes and says, you love mashed potatoes, but you know for a fact you don't love mashed potatoes, and you're like, no, look at this. This clipboard right here says, I don't love mashed potatoes. Like, so shoo, I don't trust you, I don't believe you, get lost. When you're in alpha state, that gatekeeper is having a little nap, because your unconscious mind does not have the ability to determine true from false. Ooh. It takes information as 100% true.
Wow.
Your unconscious mind is telling your heart to beat. It's telling your lungs to breathe. It is too busy operating your entire body to stop and think if something's true. So when you're in an alpha state, that gatekeeper's having a little nap, and this idea, I love mashed potatoes, goes right past him and goes straight into your belief system. And there's a very good chance you're going to wake up liking mashed potatoes. This is also why fast food commercials get repeated late at night on cable television, for whoever still watches that, over and over and over, because they know people are asleep in front of the TV. They can't go into that delta sleep or theta sleep, because they're still processing auditory information. So they're highly suggestible. So that's why commercials repeat a lot later at night, because they know people are asleep. So with trauma-based mind control, when you are traumatized, when your conscious mind sees the Twin Towers falling down, or you see Bambi's mother get killed, especially as a child, the conscious mind starts to reel. Like, it just starts to try to find a frame of reference, especially for a child, because it's the concept of losing a parent to the child. There's nothing more devastating than that. There is no worse trauma for a child than forcing them to imagine losing their own parent. So that puts them in a heightened alpha suggestive state. So the reason why they traumatize the child at the beginning of the movie is because they know for the rest of the movie, their conscious mind is reeling, their unconscious mind is fully open, their gatekeeper is asleep, and they just embed all of their commands and all of their programs and plant all of their seeds. And when we as an adult watch the Twin Towers going down, we go into a fight or flight response, right? So the same with COVID, right? The reason why they were constantly keeping us terrified in COVID is because when you're in fight or flight, the blood leaves your brain and goes to your extremities, your arms and legs. So you can either fight off whatever is trying to kill you, or you can run away from it. So all of COVID, all of 9/11, we are in this fight or flight, which takes blood away from our brains, so we can't think as clearly. We cannot, our cognitive function is limited because all of the blood is in our arms and legs so we can fight or run away. And this is why we are in a perpetual state of fear, or not. This is why people, and they want people in a perpetual state of fear. And think of COVID, right? First of all the blood's leaving your brain to run away. And then you smother your face so you can't even breathe. The mask puts you in an instant fight or flight. Instant. Because the mask is like, I'm suffocating. I'm going to die. I either need to kill the thing that's stopping me from breathing or I need to run away from it. So this fear really dumbs us down. And for children, it completely opens their mind and primes them. It primes them for all of the programming that happens after the movie. Which brings us to the elimination of the parent, the pussification of the male. I mean, the early princes, they were slaying dragons, right? Like back in the day, the prince would slay a dragon for the princess. Now, when as you look at the evolution, the prince's romance is completely eliminated by the modern age. But the Renaissance is really where Disney really started ramping things up, because that was 1989 with Little Mermaid. So they didn't make a princess movie from 1956 to 1989.
Whoa.
And why is that? Why was that? Well, I figured out why. Because that's when they were priming the parents. They foisted the hippie movement, which we know is a psyop. They had to make the parents of the next generation basically degenerate, so that when the Renaissance movies came out, they wouldn't have a problem with that programming. So, I mean, like, I'm the product of hippies. Like, my parents it was all about the hippie, and all of those hippies had kids. And then we had Little Mermaid, and they didn't mind that Little Mermaid was half naked, that all of a sudden the protagonist of the Disney movie is literally half naked. And I mean, she looked fabulous. I'm still a little jealous, right? Like, but I was 10. And that was the first time I realized that I was completely inadequate physically, because Ariel, like this long red hair and the shells, and gosh, she was fabulous.
You're totally
but she
right.
Was the first.
You're 100% right. Listen, real quick. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and like, my parents are boomers. I love my parents. I'm sure we have what would be categorized as boomers that listen to this, and I love them as well. I'm not saying the individuals were the problem, or even my parents were the problem. My parents weren't perfect. And my daughter's going to grow up and go, "Why'd you do this?" And I'd be like, "We tried our best," you know? But the truth of the matter is that the boomer generation was extremely damaging to our culture and our heritage. And because that is the generation that stopped passing down wisdom to the next generation. Why don't I speak Armenian? Because my parents' generation stopped speaking it. Now, their generation before was like, you got to assimilate. But there was the stopping of passing down of language and culture, stopping of passing down of like cooking, of working on houses, working on cars, working on all that stuff. It went from that stuff where it's like you did things for yourself to now I'm working in an office and that's what I'm focused on. That generation stopped the passing down of knowledge. Johnny, do you have a problem with that?
It's an interesting thought. Well, you mentioned, I was going to bring up assimilation, but you mentioned that because I mean, the language thing feels a lot like just, hey, wanting to fit in a new country, right?
Right. But like my mother, and I love her to pieces, she could speak Armenian. She never did it with us, ever.
Do you wish she did?
Yeah, 100%. Why? I listen. If let's say I got the full Armenian experience, I would still be an American, But it would be nice to have a connection. If I went to Glendale, I could talk to everybody. Like
where did they learn it?
From their parents. But most of them. But no, Johnny, that's not true.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just a genuine question.
Because when I got to LA, it was very, very much first and second generation in Glendale. They weren't part of that. I'm not saying there weren't Armenians in LA in the hippie movement, but the number of Armenians has grown huge fleeing from Armenia. So it's like,
But I wonder just how much that specifically is about what generation you are immigrant versus.
okay, so let's just take out language, Johnny, if that's an issue you have. Let's take out the language into the assimilation. The cooking, the cleaning, the traditional roles, the fixing of cars, the building of craftsmanship.
Maybe it's just where I'm from. It's a little different than the city,
Right.
But I mean, I grew up learning to do all that shit, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's exceptions to rules.
I think the South is a little different culturally. Like,
I
we
think
still
for a
have,
long
like,
time they were
and stuff.
They were more of a Christian stronghold for a very long time. Like they weren't as much into the Hollywood stuff.
I mean, I spent my life holding nails for my dad, and learning to do so.
But a lot of it wasn't passed down, and that's the generation where it died.
And I think it's kind of because you have to. Because how many places is it to get an oil change here? They're everywhere. I'm pretty sure where Johnny's at, there's one in a few. It's either you learn how to do an oil change or you don't. And it's not that your dad doesn't want to teach you.
I grew up in a small town. Even Niagara Falls wasn't that big. And like you go, okay, maybe it's just my parents, but where's the generation that can do that? I have cousins that own a law maintenance company that's been thriving for 40 years. That was passed down. But like,
I think that's a lot to do with technology too, right? Don't you think?
Well, I'll tell you, Canada is a great example of culture killer. So I tell anybody, if you want to hang on to your culture, don't come to Canada. we will kill it. And I think that can be said for North America, because I mean, yeah, we love our concept of diversity on the surface, but we don't want diversity of thought. Diversity of thought is not allowed in Canada. You can look as different as you want, but you can't have any different thoughts. And the Indians that come, because we have a lot of Indians that come to Canada, they lose the language, they lose the cooking, they actually lose everything. The kids don't want to go to the temple, because this North American culture is in my opinion, it's death of culture. They don't want differences, right? And even in terms of lineage, that's another program in Disney where they really disparage the idea of honoring the family and understanding your heritage. There's a few scenes in some of the movies, like there's one Brave with the redheaded. Her mother's trying to show her this tapestry, and they're Scottish, and she's like, look at our family, look at our history, look at our heritage, and the protagonist rips it in half and like stomps on it, and again, like it's a reminder. It's like, no, just let it all go. They don't want us having culture. They want to create the new culture. It's a new culture has been created, and it's a culture around what I would call the empowered child. Yeah, that was something that Aleister Crowley said.
Well, real quick, there's something about like leaving your country and coming here and assimilating into the way our culture is. That I don't necessarily have a problem with, but it's like the loss of skills passed down from father to son and mother to daughter that is lost now. It doesn't exist
because the parents are working.
Yeah,
the parents are working so much now.
It is. I like, it's like we have a guy come over and fix everything, and it's just like I'm just so slammed. I can't sit there and work on a cupboard. Now, I'm not saying I'm good enough to do it. I mean, it would get done, but it would be janky, But
But that's the thing, man. It was janky back then too. People just made do. You would have been fine. I don't think it's. I think you can do way more than you imagine.
Live with the Amish for a while and just get some Amish skills.
Dude, there's a great show about that. This old reality TV show where they just throw these regular people in with the Amish. I think it's called like Becoming Amish. It's so good.
Yeah. Going back to Disney, a big thing that Izzy Griffin came on was talked about that really resonated with me was the notion of these progressives, whatever you want to call them, or maybe Satanists or whatever the term is, their desire to destroy the archetypes in which we look at ourselves, right? It's like in some instances, they just love to play the stereotypes. And then in other instances, they just want to destroy how men and women have traditionally interacted with each other.
Yeah, it's inversion. Inversion is the name of the game here. And when you look at it, That's what they're doing. They're flipping everything upside on the head. That's why they're pussifying the male. So it's the butchification of the female is just as strong a program, right? I mean, I remember watching these movies and just wishing that I could just kick butt. You know, I watched Sydney Bristow on Alias, you know, forever, and I just wanted to be strong. I just wanted to be physically strong and be able to beat people up, but without realizing that a man who protects his woman, he feels empowered when he can protect her. So if he has a woman that can kick the crap out of him, this is a reverse. So this is where I get into the reversal of the poles, okay? Because Disney is really good at reversing the poles, in my opinion. So when you think about a battery, you have a positive and a negative, okay? That's why you have masculine and feminine, okay? So the masculine is considered positive, the feminine is considered negative. That battery, those opposites create a charge. If you don't have those opposites, you don't have an attraction, you don't have a charge. So when you make the woman be masculine and you make the male be feminine, there's no longer a polarity. And so there's no longer a charge, and the battery doesn't work. And it seems like this is what's happening. These programs are designed to encourage girls to behave in a way that will turn men off, and vice versa. And I think ultimately the goal is to eliminate the number of children we have. It seems to me, again, if you think of what is positive, if something is positive, then you get more of it. You create more, right? If something is negative, you get less of it. So when you look at the traditional values and the traditional roles, that creates babies, right? Because the woman has to know that her man is strong enough to protect her, and she has to feel comfortable enough to be her most vulnerable with him. The woman has to be able to be vulnerable with a strong man, because when she's pregnant, she's the most vulnerable she's ever going to be. So if she's looking for a man and he's wearing a pink shirt and he's this progressive idiot that won't even hold the door open for her, she's not going to feel safe having a baby with him. And conversely, the man, he thrives off protecting and providing. This is the natural order of things. And I'm not saying every woman is supposed to be that way and every man is supposed to be that way. But when you look at the biblical worldview, where it says have a lot of kids. And so if you want to have a lot of kids, these are the rules you have to follow to create the environment where you can have kids. But what's happening now is we're telling children to grow up and adopt ideas that are making them not have children. So you have to look at the fruits, right? The roots equal the fruits. So what are the fruits of the Disney Renaissance? There are no fruits. We're not getting married. We're not having kids. We're not even close to replacing the population here in Canada. So it's negative. It's making less, right? Whereas if you look at this other way of living, the traditional way, it makes more. But it does seem that there is a very strong desire to eliminate our relationships with one another and our ability to have families.
I completely and utterly agree. We've talked about this before on the show. The way women talk about children, the way men think about sex, like men don't want to get laid and women don't want to have kids. It's not even that they don't even want to have kids. They don't like children. They don't like kids.
Oh,
like it's
they're
so
calling children
weird.
Parasites.
It's
well, here we managed to convince. I would say, I don't know if it's a majority in Canada. I don't know if it's a majority in America, but the majority of women in my country will jump up and down and have a temper tantrum if you tell them they're not allowed to kill their own baby. I mean, when I was 20, I believed it was no different than going to the bathroom. So when I was 20 and even in younger, it was like, no, it's a clump of cells. And yeah, I was stupid and I wanted to believe it was just a clump of cells, right? It was a very convenient lie that I was told so that I'd sacrifice my baby. Oh my goodness, if I had done that, and my heart goes out to any woman who has done that. I'm not standing in judgment. I just know if I had done it, and I would have been encouraged. If I had gotten pregnant, I would have been encouraged to have an abortion, and I would have had it. I wouldn't even have thought twice about it. But I don't know how. Now that I'm a mom, I don't know I can't even imagine how hard that would be on me now that I know and realize the truth. And it's very interesting, right? Like with this idea of, again, back to Jesus on the cross, his body was broken for us, right? Abortion is, I'm breaking your body for me, right? So it is, again, an inversion, and the mother is supposed to be this loving, protecting, like this nurturing soul, and we've somehow been convinced to do something that goes against the very fabric of our nature. And it's words like crotch goblin. They have all these horrible words for children. They're calling them parasites, and the whole Sex in the City. Don't even get me started on the Sex in the City programming, what that did to women in my generation, encouraging them, telling them that you're more valuable as an employee than you could be as a wife and mother. That had serious detrimental effects on people that I know, like friends that I have that just decided they wanted the Sex in the City life. They didn't, and they didn't want to do the family life. And, some people don't have regrets, and then some people do. But the programming against being a mom is mortifying. It's mortifying. And then you have kids and you realize what a lie it is. You realize that this is the greatest joy that you could ever possibly experience, and you would never ever know the love that you know if you didn't have these kids.
And you don't know.
The progressive narrative is devastating.
Hey guys, listen, man. The weather's changing. One day it's raining. One day it's super hot. You need the best work clothes that are ready for any condition all the time. And there's no better working man's outfit and clothing than our good friends at TrueWork. Let me tell you about TrueWork. Working outside in the springtime means you're dealing with the chilly mornings, hot afternoons, and everything in between. Not to mention the mud, the rain, and whatever else the weather decides to throw at you. You need workwear that can keep up with the changing conditions, and TrueWork has you covered.
Most workwear is made from cotton blends, which restrict your movement and get soaked after just a few raindrops. TrueWork uses advanced performance fabrics to build products designed specifically for work on the job site. Springtime is the perfect season for the T2 work pant, which keeps you comfortable over a wide range of conditions. These pants have 4-way stretch for bending, kneeling, and climbing, a water-resistant finish to shed rain, and 9 intelligent pockets to keep tools just where you need them. They've been tested and validated for more than 10 years by real trade pros working in real job site conditions. With more than 15,000 5-star reviews, it's worth experiencing the difference for yourself.
You know what I love, dude? Look at these rain pants. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, those things look like they're good for anything. A night at the club, you look fashionable, breakdancing when it rains. I could wear that all the time.
The S1, what does it say? The Storm Cell, I think is what it's called.
Oh, it's fire,
You know what's funny is I've taken these snowboarding, and I know they're like rainproof, and I was kind of sketchy about it. I'm like, dude, this is going to get me wet. Nope.
Dude, this guy never gets wet.
Yeah, you shouldn't be sketchy.
Ladies, don't hang out with him. Listen, the work doesn't stop just because the weather changes. Upgrade to T2 work pants and stay comfortable no matter what the day brings. Get 15% off your first order at TrueWork.com with code TINFOIL. That's TrueWerk.com, code TINFOIL. TrueWork, built like it matters. Because it does. And we thank them for sponsoring the show. Those pants are fire. You don't really know what you don't have until it's too late. And, especially when you talk to young people, and because I was like that, I had an ex-girlfriend that I was still friends with, and she started dating this professor that was much old. She went on to marry him, and they had kids together. And he was much older. She was like 20-something. He was in his 40s. Very cool cat. Mm-hmm. And he would say to me all the time, you don't understand. It's not going to be like this forever. And I was like, you're nuts.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen.
I'm crushing it. I'm going to crush to the end of days. And there are some people that does happen to, and that's like a 1%. But it does get to the point where the phone stops ringing. And this world of childless adults that we're going, and listen, it wasn't until I was 47 years old that I had kids. If I was female, I wouldn't have this luxury. You know,
Well, we have a time limit, yeah.
You know, and that's done for a reason. There's reasons these things happen, and so I had late, and I was blessed enough to have them late. You know, but we're gonna see this giant influx of childless people entering retirement age, and then entering like senior citizen age, and going into homes. And you're like, who's going to put you in the home? Who's going to visit you in the home? Who's going to be making sure you're getting taken care of in the home? Who's going to call you to see if you're alone by yourself? I mean, like...
Well, our government has figured out a solution.
Yeah, I know.
So our government...
Yeah.
You just kill yourself, Sam. That's what the maids, that's what our government sanctions. Our government now sanctions that you can just... be assisted by the government to end that suffering. And guess what? Are you depressed? No problem. Okay. Oh, you got bipolar disorder? No problem. It is, and it's true because they're looking and they're seeing that there's going to be a bunch of elderly people that aren't going to have money. They don't want to pay for them to be in the long-term care homes, and so they're going to be loneliness is a debilitating and crushing experience, especially when you're old. And so, yeah, we're going to have a sea of people who are most likely going to choose that route that the government is so lovingly offering to them. And again, it just makes you think, like, are we in a death cult? Is that where we are? Because now we're looking at the most vulnerable, right? Like the most vulnerable and the most vulnerable on both ends of the spectrum. And our government is just like, just dispose of them.
Grandkids keep grandparents alive. If you think about it, like, how much does your mom love your grandkids?
Yeah.
And if she didn't have anybody, she's like, well, I might as well die if you don't have if you have no parents. No, if you have no kids and you have no grandkids and you're old and you're pretty much already did everything, you're like, yeah, you might go and get a maid and get it done.
It's I mean, listen, if you didn't have kids and you're happy, that's fine. I'm happy for you. I mean, it's everybody's on their own journey. This is not a witch hunt or anything like that. It's just, you know, it's so funny because, you know, I'm a little older. I have my kids a little older, and all these people in their 30s have decided to have children. And you always go, it's a love you'll never understand until you understand it. And like, you love your niece and nephews, you love your dog, you love all that stuff. It's not even close, and you can't even measure it. It's like there's no measurement that will explain to you what that is, because you don't get it until you got it. And they're not going to experience it. And
did you want kids before you had them, Sam?
Yeah, I always wanted kids.
You did? Okay.
I always wanted kids. I always wanted to be a dad. You know, I just think, you know, it's like I take it as a task, you know, like my job is to give them the best, you know, the best information, the best teaching. So when they do go into the world, they have, you know, they're very smart and they have common sense and they can solve their problems. And, you know, like, that's really what I want to do. You know, my parents, again, you know, probably weren't the best in some ways. I my dad, I could say more stuff, but my mom did her best. She tried her hardest, but they instilled a lot of great things into me, which was work, hard work, being honest, all that stuff that has taught me how to thrive right now. Like, my father always was working 8 other different jobs than his job. So he was always, you know, he's in the system, but he had all this stuff on the side, which is what I ended up doing. You know what I'm saying? So I learned hard work from my parents. So I think it's super important. And then it's like adoption. I think people should adopt. If you don't have a kid, adopt, help somebody, dude. It's like that will, when you get your life review, that's going to really help that you change somebody's fucking life. I just, like, it's so crazy. I was listening to this chick talk about how, like, she did, like, one of the reasons she didn't want to have kids is because she didn't want to do homework. Do you know how insane that statement is?
It's your kid's homework. You just got to kind of
Do you
help
know how
them.
easy my daughter's homework in kindergarten is? It's like, trace this.
Wait till 7th grade, bro.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll both be like, I don't
Algebra.
know what that word
Yeah.
is, dude.
I'm just
Oh, the
thinking
new
math.
long division?
Yeah, I don't know what to do here. Yeah, just ask ChatGPT. He's your real dad.
Yeah.
The trauma that she has from doing fucking homework that she doesn't want to do it with her kids.
Well,
Yeah.
she's like me. She's like me. And we'll see how she ends up fitting into the system. She may be like her dad that was just never in it. Like, and just
Oh, you're talking about your daughter. Oh.
Yeah, she may be like, I got other things I want to focus on instead of the traditional school, learn how to follow rules, learn how to do what you're told, all that stuff. And I don't hate teachers here. I think, there's this, they get a lot of crap that I don't think they should be blamed for. Are there crazy ones out there? Yes, obviously. Show me an occupation, I'll show you some whack jobs. But there's this video going around, I don't know if it made it to Canada, but it was a video where this kid went around to his classmates in Chicago and asked them to read. And there were big words, and they struggled with some of it, and everyone blamed the educational system. And I was like, dude, if you have a kid, you know exactly whose fault it is that the kid doesn't know how to read. And that is the parent. And I know parents are stretched. I know it.
Yeah.
Okay? But that kid can't read because you didn't, and everyone's.
How old were these kids? This high school?
I would
school?
say they were like mid high school,
With high school.
right?
What was the word?
I don't even know what the word was. You can find the video, but maybe we'll watch it later. But I just feel like what your teachers are supposed to be is to add on to what you've already taught them, to focus it,
Yeah.
not to teach them everything.
I don't expect my kids to learn anything in school. I think that I make them go because I'm like, you have to play the game and you have to understand what the world is like. But going to school and expecting an education is like going to church and expecting to understand the Bible. I've noticed it in my experience. I didn't start really learning until I left school. And I learned most of my stuff about the Bible outside of church because church has no interest in in my opinion, the important parts of the Bible. Nobody wants to talk about all the important stuff. There's a lot of lukewarm Christianity happening. But yeah, I told when the pandemic hit, I forced my children to memorize the definition of civil disobedience. So we would be driving, we'd be anywhere, and I'd be like, civil disobedience, and they'd be like, ugh. Disobeying an unjust law that goes against God's law.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can't even imagine. The principal, when the principal sees me coming at the school, little beads of sweat formulate. They wish I would go away.
Yeah, that is a hard part of that because.
But I got a special accommodation.
Really? What does that mean?
I actually let them. So we now do a land acknowledgement instead of the Lord's Prayer every class. Listen, every classroom, every corporation that has a meeting, they have to start their meeting and the children start their day with a land acknowledgement, acknowledging that we are on stolen land and atoning for whatever horrors we need to atone for. So there's a strict no phone policy at the school, but my children, when the land acknowledgement is playing, my children have specific instructions to be on their phones. And we have received that accommodation because I explained to the principal that my family came to this country in 1610, and we are never, ever, ever going to teach our children that the feats that they accomplished in 1610 and everything they did to build this country is something to be ashamed of. And I also explained to her that the little part of Newfoundland where my ancestors landed, the ancestors weren't from England, okay? Because nobody in Canada, you can't say you're Canadian in Canada, okay? If I try to say I'm from Canada, it's like, oh yeah, but where? But like where? So I have to go back 400 years and say England. They're like, oh, okay, so you're English. I've been here 400 years. But anyways, the my little fishing tribe that started living, that settled in Newfoundland, they were fighting with the French all the time. The English and the French were always fighting. The French in Canada is another topic for another day. Our whole country is ruled by the Laurentian elite. Okay, the French run our country. We'll get into it's so bad. But anyway, so the English and the French, we would fight, and the French paid the First Nations. They paid them to be mercenaries to slaughter our village. We started the village, it was 0. We got it up to 500. And the First Nations were paid by the French to massacre us down to 27. And according to my family's oral tradition, the 27 people that were standing were Taverners. And the Taverner clan is, if you go way back, that's on my mom's side. And so we have this very proud tradition that, yeah, they wiped us out, but they didn't wipe all of us out. And, they may have used some of our scalps for decoration and stuff, but, we survived. So I just explained to the principal, you're not making my child feel guilty for the pride that we have in our heritage. So what are you going to do to make sure that he doesn't have to experience the trauma of listening to a land acknowledgement that calls us thieves when Treaty 11 clearly states that we bought this land outright? But it was a 2-hour conversation. So they get to be on their phones.
No, that's amazing. And I think that's very important because they're trying to get rid of nationalism. Because there comes
oh my goodness. And this UNDRIP is a big problem in Canada. This United Nations Declaration for the reconciliation of Indigenous people. They're in BC. This is the thing. BC is the most progressive province in Canada. They are off the deep end. They are just completely they're your California, maybe, except for you, Sam. But anyways, BC is really progressive. What's happened, because they're so progressive, our country has given $250 billion to the First Nations tribes in the last 10 years. And apparently it's still not good enough. So now the First Nations in BC made this land claim, and they've just claimed an entire suburb of Vancouver as theirs, and it looks like they won. So now all of the homeowners in Richmond, BC don't know if they own their homes, and they can't get mortgages. They can't renew their mortgages because titleship is now under question. And they may not own their land. And now the First Nations band is demanding 50% of the revenues from the taxes from all of those people. So this is an example where the villain in a movie, the right-hand man of the villain, always gets it the worst. Okay? In the end of the movie, it's usually the villain's right-hand man that gets betrayed and just gets it the worst. And I feel like this is what is happening to BC because they have been happily complying to communism, and now they're the first ones that are actually suffering the consequences of it. And that's why I could even say the story about the land acknowledgement, because there's more talk about it. Before, like, they consider, like, there's this whole 215 body at a residential school myth. So they're saying that there are 250 children's bodies found in a mass grave at a residential school in Kamloops, BC. So the government gave them $17 million to excavate and find the bones. And they haven't excavated because the LiDAR shows that it's just rocks, but they kept the money. And now we're saying, where are the bodies?
Holy shit.
That's crazy.
Yes. And now they're calling it residential school denialism, and they're putting it akin to Holocaust denial. So if you deny, and they want to pass a law so you're not allowed to say, where are the bodies?
Holy shit.
I hadn't heard that.
Holy shit.
That's why you need the beaver bit.
That is absolutely insanity, because I believed it.
Yeah.
Because I've had people on talking about that. Some of the Grimerica guys are very much
I was mortified.
Yeah, it's very crazy, dude.
Okay, so here's the thing. here's the thing. Anybody that got sent to a Catholic boarding school or any boarding school, there are people that will have stories about how they were mistreated, right? But if you look at the history, so we found this has caused people to dig up newspaper clippings and really look into it. When I was in school, I hated myself. We learned about how horrible these poor children were treated. Like, it was mortifying. It was traumatic. It was traumatic. And to teach this to children and then say it's your ancestors that did it, it was a big problem. But then you start to, more information starts to come out, and you start to ask questions, and then asking questions, you're met with, all like horrible, like they just want to shut you up essentially. And yeah, I'm sure there were some bad things that happened in residential schools, but there are letters of the chiefs begging the schools to take in more students. There was a school that was going to close in Manitoba, and the chief wrote a letter to the local newspaper saying how beneficial this school was. So the children they're being nourished, they're learning. Like, there were a lot of children that benefited from the schools, and there were children that were mistreated. And it would be foolish to say that there were none. But this idea that they were murdered and potentially molested and all of these really, really horrible stories, we need to look at them situation by situation. You can't paint this whole story with one brush. And it seems that the side that is making money off of this is really wanting to perpetuate the highest traumatic ideas. And they really want to hold on to it because it's a $250 billion grift so far. And that's lining somebody's pocket. So it's not to say that it didn't happen, but the way that they're painting it is it's just not right.
Okay. I have a question for you. It's not on this, but so, you brought up the liberalism, the progressivism of Canada. You brought up California. We see that here. There's a culture war going on. We just had this giant roast and people are losing their fucking minds. Did we already talk about that here? I know we talked it earlier, but before, but they're losing their minds. They're mad at Shane Gillis. They're mad at Tony Hinchcliffe for some off-colored jokes. Nobody's talking about Chelsea Handler having dinner with Epstein at a small dinner, not like, hey, I went to this party. It turned out Epstein was there. Or Woody Allen's there. I don't even know if those two are true. That's what Shane said, but you can look it up. She 100% was dating a guy who went to dinner.
She's one of them.
Yes, for sure. So nobody cares about that. And Cheryl Underwood, who is one of the greatest comics you'll ever be blessed to see do stand-up, she's a killer. And she did a joke about if anyone said the N-word, she would have them killed. And listen, I understand it's a joke. I'm not mad at it. But what I'm saying is the uproar on stuff about all the black jokes. Everyone's getting upset about that. And that to me is like you want equality. You got it. Everybody's making fun of everybody. That's that is the real equality.
That's
even
true
though
equality.
It's like what most of these progressives want isn't really equality. They just want to bitch and moan. They love the status quo. White guys bad, black people oppressed, women oppressed, Jews are hated because they're fucking so successful, and that's the only reason people hate them, because of their success. Gays are just marginalized, like all this fucking crazy shit. They don't want they don't want the paradigm in which all these people look at each other to change. They don't want any of that because they enjoy that because they don't have to think. It's easy. White guy, bad. Black guy, good. Gay, good. Women, good. Jews, picked on. It's like this whole thing. Muslims, terrorists, just like this easy, they're losing the culture war. But the question becomes, is like, how do you change it? Because there's so many of them, and like they don't have kids. They aren't building shops. They're just they live. Their whole purpose is to fight the enemy in the cave. It's like sometimes I get to the point like, who are we trying to save at this point? Like, who do we save? You always hear they want to break up America. And I'm like, I'm against it because then you get into Bolshevikism, right? And you got the
Balkanism.
and then everybody is not Bolsheviks, but the Balkanization, excuse me.
Balkanization, yes.
And then everyone's at war with each other. Everybody's at war. You think Texas is just going to chill? You don't think they're going to go into fucking New Mexico and just start racking people? Like, I mean, it's just, so what do you do with them? Because they have no clue because what they only do is, so going back to the roast real quick, they only get mad at things they don't like. And when their side does stuff that is wrong, they don't care because fighting evil is more important than self-correcting, right? It's like the people in Minneapolis protesting ICE, yet couldn't care less that their tax money is being just stolen by Somalians. It doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
They just don't care. They don't care. And it's like, so this guy, Ron Placone, who I think is a great political guy, he's from the left. And he was basically called the things that happened there racist on the roast. And I go, well, what about the black chick saying she's going to kill white people if they say a word, Bron? Does that upset you? He goes, well, I didn't see that. I don't know anything about that. I go, you probably saw it and it didn't care because it didn't register with you because you probably think that's okay. And Ron's a good guy. This is not an anti-Ron discussion. This is more of, like when I get called racist, anti-Semitic, and sexist on the internet, it's like, well, don't you know I make fun of everybody? Like I'm literally more open-minded than you are. I equally make fun of everybody. You just know it's the one thing that pisses you off, so you think I'm that one thing. When I make fun of everybody, I call out everybody's fucking criticism. I have comedy about everybody, but you only see the things that piss you off.
See, I thought it was pretty equal because, I mean, you got a George Floyd joke and then you got a Charlie Kirk joke. Yeah. You hit both sides. Both of them, they were both pissed. I saw someone yelling, oh, George Floyd joke, I can't breathe. And then you saw the right being like, Charlie Kirk, don't touch Charlie Kirk. I'm like, yo, that was both sides. And they're both. Yeah,
and then you got Michael Che crying like he's like, black roasting is like, what's up with this dude's shoes? And he goes, white people race, sex crimes, fucking racism, this. I'm like, so what you're saying is white comics have more depth. Is that what you're saying? They go a little deeper with their roast and what's up with this dude's shoes?
Michael Che's become this kind of arbiter for taste and it's really frustrating because I'm like, dude, you do Weekend Update, bro. Like, shut the fuck up.
And when he writes for his white co-anchor and he writes some racist jokes to say.
Yes, he does.
And that's
all the time.
funny. Yeah. Oh my God, it's crazy. But in reality, Johnny, I get why women hate this red pill moment. I get why Jews hate this anti-Semitism moment. I get why gays hate that the F word is back. I get why blacks get mad when white people are doing racist jokes. Because I would be like that too if I was a protected class and anything I didn't like, I could just call hate speech. It would be fucking great. It would be so great if this guy's like, dude, what's up with your socks? I'm like, why are you racist, dude? Yeah. Why are you fucking racist?
It's fun, right?
Hey, dude, your girlfriend's like is weird. Dude, why are you a fucking racist?
It's like having a nuke as a country. It's just you can just drop it in any conversation.
100%. It's like, hey, XG, why are you parked in the handicapped parking spot? Are you fucking racist, dude? It's like, I would love to have just something that gets me out of any criticism. Yeah. I would love to never get criticism. It would be fucking fun, right? Just to be able to do whatever I want. And if anyone calls me out, they can just call me a bigot.
Just fuck up the entire city of Los Angeles. And then if I do, I get reelected.
Yeah, it's called BLM, right? It's called BLM. Yeah.
I mean, if they say the N-word, you can technically hit him. Who's that guy that killed the old man because he got said the N-word and got away with it?
Imagine that. You're just talking to your buddy who's black, calling each other the M-word. Some old 80-year-old guy from Vietnam drops one M-bomb, and you kill him. You're like, yeah, that totally makes sense to me. That's totally sensible.
I have a story you're gonna love. I have a story you'll love. So yeah, being in Canada, the only thing our school cares, the number one thing that our schools care about right now is anti-black racism. It's been the last 10 years. It's the only focus. It's the only thing that matters. It's the only thing. And the school region that I'm in, what happened was 10 years ago, there was a lot of violence. So a lot of kids were being violent against teachers and other students. And so they implemented a no tolerance policy and said, if you just one strike and you're out, you physically hurt, you hit somebody, you're out. And what happened was there was a disproportionate number of Black students that were being punished as a result of this no tolerance policy.
Oh my God.
So they paid millions of dollars to do a study. They paid millions of dollars to do a study.
That's great.
And the study determined that obviously every teacher in the board is racist. And that's the problem. So it had nothing to do with these children physically attacking, and it had everything to do with the unconscious bias of particularly the white female teacher. They really like to go after the white female teacher. So now what has happened is you cannot suspend, you cannot expel, and you have to be very, very careful if you're going to reprimand Black kids. So they can't, you have to give them special treatment. What they also now have, they've got a Black parent advisory committee. So it's like a PTA just for the Black parent. Now here's how I learned about the club. Here's how I learned. So my 11-year-old, no, my 10-year-old at the time, he came to me and he's like, Mommy, I want to join the cool club. Can you sign me up for the cool club? And I'm like, what is this cool club? What are you talking about? And he's like, well, they get to listen to hip hop and they're eating chips and drinking pop, which is outlawed. You're not allowed any junk in the school. And they're eating these forbidden foods and they're dancing and they're having so much fun. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course you're going to join the cool club. Like, that sounds great. Let's get you in the cool club. No. So I found out it's the BSA, the Black Student Association. So I had to tell my 10-year-old, sorry, bud, you can't go in that club because you're white. And a 10-year-old, he doesn't get that. It's like, what do you mean? Like, because a 10-year-old isn't an idiot, it's a stupid thing. It's like, well, that's stupid. Like, my friends are in there. Why can't I hang out with them?
Exactly.
And what it ended up doing was it caused animosity. It causes animosity. You're not bringing these students together. You're literally separating them. You're segregating them.
Yes.
And now so now what's happening? So there's one of my son's best friends is Black, and her father is just this giant, wonderful, really, really Black man. And we were after school, the kids were all playing in the playground, and his daughter came running up to him and said, Daddy, so-and-so called me the N-word. And so me and like two of the other white moms that were there talking to him were just like, oh gosh, like this is really bad. And so we're just kind of looking to see how he's going to respond. And he's I think he's from Trinidad and Tobago. No, he's Trinidad and Tobago. He's from the island somewhere. So he's got a bit of an accent. And so when she said that, he's like, and what? And she's like, Dad, like, he called me the N-word. And what?
Nice, Dad.
What's going on here? What's going on here? And like, we don't know what to do. And so he said her name, and he's like, you gonna let everyone with a mouth kill you dead? Anyone with a mouth can say that word, and you're gonna let them kill you dead with that word?
Nice.
Off you go. Off you go.
Sounds like Bob Marley.
Like,
give that dad a fucking award, dude.
Right? Like,
give that dad a fucking award.
But then you know what? But he looked at me and he's like, I'm sick of this. He's like, she gets a bad mark in math, and she thinks it's because she's Black. She doesn't get picked, to be somebody's partner in some group work. She thinks it's because she's Black. He's like, my daughter blames everything on being Black, and she is now a victim. She thinks the whole world hates her. She thinks that she's not going to get a job because she's Black, and she learned it all in school. And it's like, And he's like, she won't take accountability, and also she has been crippled because she's been taught that because of the color of her skin, she's going to be treated differently in society. And I was like, like this. That's the opposite of what's supposed to happen, right? So again, the inversion, the inverted result is what we got. And so a lot of these parents are not appreciating the fact that their children are being victimized, their children are being racially segregated. And I mean, it's been 10 years and honestly, I don't think there was a problem to begin with. There wasn't a problem to begin with. This is the thing. Like, my sister's a teacher, and she was told, even if you don't think that you are racist, you are. So
That's so funny.
It's called unconscious bias.
Yeah.
You're not conscious of it.
Yeah, not having symptoms of COVID is a good sign you have COVID.
It's like original sin that you can't be forgiven for. You know, there's no Jesus for that one. It's just, you're all racist.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do. And it's interesting because Canada, far fewer black people.
Well, I mean, dude, and what we're talking about is, don't take this the wrong way, but we're talking about Canadian blacks.
Yeah, they're far fewer.
Which are basically white black people.
Like a quarter as many.
Have you ever met a black Canadian chick? They're so hot and they're chill.
They're all from the islands.
They're chill,
None
dude.
of them come from slaves. None of them are descendants. We had the Underground Railroad. So if they were descendants of slaves, it's because we gave them safe passage. And the rest of them are Jamaican and from the islands. So they don't identify with this slavery narrative, but it's foisted on them. It is foisted on them. That's one of the things that I mentioned to the principal is
And again,
how is this helping them? And I said, like,
I would do it too. I'd do it too. If you were told me I can blame everything on everybody else, that none of my actions are why I am where I am by decisions I've made and actions I've taken, that'd be the fucking best. That would be the fucking best.
For failure. It's literally a permission slip to not try. What's the point of trying? That's what I said to the principal. Why are they even going to try? You're telling them that everybody hates them? How is that?
You know who does
fostering a good child?
You know who does that? Black guys with white chicks that aren't into black guys. Like, you're physically attracted to someone. You're like tall people, short people, thick people, skinny people. You're either attracted to them or you're not. And it'd like to be like, oh, you're racist because you won't sleep with me. And it's like, well, I'm not attracted to you. No, it's racism.
See, I've heard it the other way too. I've heard that women who are only into black guys they fetishize the black man, is what they say. Also,
by the way, that's my favorite fucking form of hate is fetishizing.
Yeah, it's like,
Asian women do that and black men do that.
You love it so much it's weird.
Yeah. you fetishize me. You've turned me into a sex object. Boo-hoo. Imagine that. Imagine that. Like, I don't get any of these things.
Oh, man.
I have to earn everything. I have to fight for it. I don't have some chick just looking at me like I'm a piece of meat.
Love to be a fetish.
I would love to be fetishized. Can I buy some of that? Where can I buy fetishization? Where can I get that upload at? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's just people. And if you're somebody who's crying about fetishizing, it means your life is going so good. That's it. You're searching.
Yes.
You're searching for victimization. Oh, these chicks just want to hump me because they fetishize me. Boo-hoo! Unbelievable, dude. And I get it because it's easy. It's just easy to be like, everyone's mean to me because of just something I didn't do. And it's like, I would love that. Again, going back to all those protected classes that were created in the 80s and after World War II, where you couldn't criticize them. And if you did, it means you were a fucking fascist.
And you can't talk to anybody about this shit. Like, somebody that believes this, that thinks they are this is like violence to them.
I would love to know what would he like? Somebody just liking me for me?
Yeah, just not
like,
too
what
much,
does that mean? Like, I don't even understand what fetishization is.
How many black guys did you date before me is the question. It's got to be an even mix or I'm out.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable.
Actually, not an even mix. It needs to be proportionate to the mix in the population. So.
There are white women who feel like when they date men, they're civil rights leaders. Like they're the Rosa Parks of dick. Sorry about that, but it's just she came and saw my show. She knows.
No,
I knew what I was getting into.
Okay, so it's like it's just such an interesting thing, and to like, It's like if I was asking Dylan this. I go, Dylan, is it racist for me to say that I love watching black people watch magic? Is that racist? But someone would find racism in there.
So great.
See, but wouldn't it be the person that recorded it? I mean, yeah, you're watching it.
So David Blaine is racist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I get what you mean. Yeah, it's racist. I guess that you're watching and you're enjoying it.
It's racist.
No. But if
I
someone
think it's
said,
entertaining.
No, I agree. But someone could say, "Oh, you're racist for watching black people react like that to a magic trick." Well, I was like, well, if we want to get down to it, isn't David Blaine the racist person for doing the magic and putting it in front of Sam?
Here's a clip of just black people.
It's literally called street magic, dude. Like street magic, dog. You know what I mean? It's called street magic. Like he knew what he was doing, bro.
But it's like let's say I go, watching black people watch magic is magical, right? Someone be like, dude, that's racist. But let's say Michael J goes up and goes, watching black people watch magic is magical. People are like, oh my God, he's like so fearless. He's just fearless. I mean, he's not afraid to say things that we all think, and it's like, that's my problem. You're mad at the messenger, not the message. And that in itself is like these super progressives have convinced themselves you can't be racist against white people. Like, just think about that. You can't hate on a race that's so successful. Well, if you don't like white people, that's racist. But you've been programmed to overrun that logic that says that's racism. But and the reason they do that because it allows them this outlet to throw their fucking hatred into something. Oh, here's a class you can go after. Just go after these people.
It's funny too. There's a whole generation of people studying this for semester after semester in colleges too. Like this very subject that you brought up. There are people who are dedicating hours and hours of their lives writing papers about this kind of shit and like studying like why white people can't be Think about that. Like how different that kind of person is going to be.
And then
from us.
what job are you going to get with that racial justice?
The university or whatever. Yeah, that's it.
That's literally it.
Starbucks.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, no, there was a poster. So because the town that I'm in, I'll just say it's Brampton, and people that know about Brampton, it has a lot of Indian immigrants. So we're close to the airport, and so we have I think we're over 50%, well over 50% now Indian. And my oldest son, his two best friends, one is a Punjabi kid, a Sikh kid, and one's a Muslim. And they know me. Like I drive them to school sometimes and pick them up. And I'm not your average mother. I'm not your normal mother. And so I'm constantly, sharing things with them that they would not normally be information that they would not normally be exposed to. So they were in English class, and there was this bright yellow poster on the wall. And I have it memorized because I read it so many times because I lost my ever-loving mind. They looked at the poster, they saw what it said, and they told my son that they were going to activate me. They're like, we're going to activate your mom right now. We're going to take a picture of this and we're going to email it to her and we're going to activate her. And it was a saying from some American, thank you very much. And it said that the virus of white body supremacy was developed in a lab in the Virginia Assembly, and it has corrupted our entire world. It is in the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink. It has infected our entire society. This whole the white body virus, the white body supremacy virus. So they sent the picture, and they did activate me, and that was another conversation that I had with the principal. But the thing was, so the school is predominantly. Oh, that was it.
I found it.
That was it.
I found it. There it is.
Who did that?
Oh my
there
God!
That was so. That's at schools. You walked into.
Where was that? In a school?
Okay, I'll read it. All of our bodies are infected by the virus of white body, that's hyphenated, supremacy. The virus was created by human beings in 1691 in the laboratory of the Virginia Assembly. It quickly spread throughout our continent, infecting all of its people. Today, white body supremacy remains within all of us. It's in the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the institutions that govern us, and in the social contracts under which we live. It is in our bodies, and that is credited to someone called Resma Menachem.
Not even white.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
I can't believe that's mine. Like, where did you that? Because the only picture that exists is the one that my son's friends took because I went crazy on that, and they put a gag order on the school, and this nobody would talk about it. Like, I went to the school, and they just bug-eyed, tight-lipped, couldn't say a thing, which was fine because I wanted to do all the talking anyways. But the thing is, my son is a minority in the school. I mean, big time. It's maybe 10% white, maybe. And so I said, is my son a visible minority in this school? And they didn't know what to say. I said, do you understand what that is? Is my son a visible minority in this school? Because I was taught that if somebody is a visible minority, we have to work hard to welcome them and make them feel like they're part of our community. I was taught that you have to try even harder to make them feel safe and to make them feel like they're in a place that they belong. Can you explain to me how calling my son a virus is contributing and fostering his camaraderie with his fellow classmates? Because as far as I'm concerned, the opposite is happening here. And we are proud of our heritage. We are proud of the pioneers. We are proud of our ancestors, which by the new definition means that we are white supremacists, because if we are proud of our heritage, then we are considered white supremacists. So now you have just put a target on my son's back. And what are you going to do to confirm that my son is safe in this now hostile environment?
And what did they say?
And it was like, we can't talk about the poster. We can't talk about the poster. We can't talk about it. So that was another 2 hour. It was another 2 hour.
What's the ethnic breakdown of that school? How does it break down if your son's?
It's like 70% Indian, 10% white, and then like 5%, maybe 5% black, and then 5% Asian.
No Mexicans?
Yeah, Brampton is.
It's
Brampton is
Canada.
a lot of Indians.
And when you say Indian, you mean like
I
natives, like whatever you call natives?
Are
up there?
you
I mean
talking-
like Indians from India.
Oh, okay. Wow.
From India. So we've brought in, since Trudeau, so in 2015, Trudeau increased our immigration to 500,000 a year, and it's only India. 90% of our immigration comes just from India.
Huh.
And there are a lot of reasons for that, and we'll talk about that. But the thing about Indians, and here's the thing, okay? They all came. So Trudeau Senior, a lot of people don't realize that that Trudeau we just had is the son of the really other bad one. So Trudeau's father, he was actually named by Anarchy Lucas as one of those Epstein kind of guys, but he is the one that opened our country to immigration, and he opened our country to Indian immigration. And we had a really good rule. Like, they had to have certain education, and they had to have money, and we had a really nice immigration system, and we had a lot of Indians come to Canada that were wonderful for our country. Like, they wanted to be a part of the country. They assimilated, they started businesses, and everything has been great. But for the last 10 years, Trudeau Jr. opened, just eliminated the laws, the rules, opened the gates. You don't have to speak the language. Bring your grandparents. So our healthcare is already, don't think the Canadian healthcare is good. All right. Yeah, it's free because we pay like 80% tax. But imagine an already taxed healthcare, and then you tell every immigrant that they can bring their grandparents. Why? I don't know why. So, but what has happened is, so all of the kids of the parents who came here in the 70s, their parents said, you vote liberal. Like, Indians were going to vote liberal no matter what, which is your Democrat.
That's what they did with these guys. These ones. That's what they did with the Mexicans. You can come here, but you got to vote Democrat.
Yes, exactly. That's why he flooded. That's why he flooded our country. So the Indians are Mexicans. But the beauty of the Indians is they hate progressive politics. So they like the fact that the Trudeaus let them in, but they don't like the fact that their sons are being told they can be girls. Like they're taught that, like from kindergarten.
That is like Latinos. Latinos are very traditional.
Yes. And I believe that the immigrants in Canada are going to save our country, because the Canadians, we're just the boomers. I am mortified by what the boomers have presided over. Like they're just destroying our country. But the Indians are coming and they're working hard, and they're like, wait a second, like we were kind of sold a bill of goods. We were told it was going to be easy to live here, but the cost of living has gone through the roof. This is not the land of milk and honey anymore. And now they're mad because they're like, well, you had us come over here, and this place is not nearly as good as we thought. Our children aren't speaking the language. Our wives aren't cooking the food. We're losing our culture, and you're teaching them some really strange things. So my town flipped. It flipped from liberal to conservative. And I mean, it was a conservative majority, and my town it's majority Indians. But I love it because they're here, but they don't feel beholden anymore to the Liberal Party, because they're more interested in thriving in this country than they are in honoring the guy that opened the door. So
I like Indians.
I love my Indian.
My daughter's school is a very large population of Indians, and I've heard people go, "Man, there's a lot of Indians here," and I go, "I like it. They're family oriented, dude. Yeah. They just want to educate their kids, and by the next generation, they'll be Americanized.
They want their kids to get good education.
This guy's people. They come here, they work hard, they're traditional. Then the next generation's still traditional, but they're more Americanized. And then their kids are just straight up white people. They're like, they don't want to work, they play video games all day, and they cry about racism. It's like Latino crowds are great, but they're starting to change. They're starting to get super sensitive.
They go
like
to
even
school.
when I did your show, I did a couple jokes like, "Oh,
it's because they start going to school."
Yeah,
they don't. Once you're not working outside with your dad, and you got the privilege to go to a 4-year, and then there's that's that Mexican that you're talking about.
And again, it gets real fun when you can like cry about oppression. It's like real fun. It's like coming to a country and crying about how shitty this country is. That's a lot of fun. That gives you a purpose to wake up in the morning. That it's just when you have everything, you need something. You need a purpose in life, a reason to get up in the morning. And when you're born in your food, your shelter, your clothing's never gonna go away. You're set on that, man. Fighting oppression is so much fun, dude, because there's no real goal line. Again, you look at the roast. Everyone's making fun of everybody. You should be jerking off your progressive lady dick to this. You should be so excited. We got fucking equality. But nope, that's not it, because they don't want it to end. They need purpose, and they just keep. I mean,
the progressives. The progressives are the moonchild of Crowley, right? So Aleister Crowley, he went to Egypt and he did ritual sex magic, and he communed with what he believed was an Egyptian demon. And this Egyptian god or demon told him that he was going to bring about the new age of Horus to the land, and that he was going to voice this new age of Horus. So what the age of Horus is the inverted hero's journey. So the hero's journey is it's in so many different myths and stories. The son goes off, he leaves his home, he goes off, he learns something, he battles, whatever, he comes back, he's got new knowledge, and he continues to carry on the kingdom. He takes the kingdom, right? The Lion King is actually the exact hero's journey. The Isis, it's actually the Isis, Osiris, and Set is the hero's journey, and the Lion King is the exact hero's journey. And I feel like they did that movie as a way to pay homage to Crowley, because his idea was the inverted hero's journey. So what Crowley said was, instead of the hero coming back with more wisdom and knowledge and experience and leading the kingdom, the hero is going to come back force the kingdom to bend to his will, and what he wants, whatever he wants, it's that do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. So instead of coming back and leading the kingdom, he comes back, he forces society to bend to his will, to believe his lies. And then it's ushering in this new age of what he calls Horus, where everyone is their own god. And everyone only cares about themselves, and you don't have this idea of a ship, right? Like when a country is homogenous, or at least when we all have the same goal, oftentimes religion will bring us all together. But if we are all on the ship, we know who the captain is, and we're all going in the same direction, which is, to have a nice life, to have a family or whatever. It's so much stronger when we're all moving. But the goal is to make every single person an island. So instead of us all feeling like we're in this ship together and fostering community, fostering relationships, focusing on what we have in common as opposed to what we have, what our differences are. This is also why Disney doesn't have human friendships. Okay, the human protagonists in Disney don't have a human friend. It's an animal, it's a candlestick, it's a lion, it's a monkey. It's never a human. And for all of these Disney movies, there has not been an example of a human-to-human friendship. And I think that's a seed that they planted because they don't want us to be friends. They want us to be as separated, they want us to be balkanized. They want to balkanize us so that we don't have any common ground.
Yes.
And they wanted to normalize the idea of not having human friendships, which also turned into not having human children, right? Instead, you get a pet, you'll have a dog, and or a cat. And that will fulfill you. But you're right. This progressivism is completely designed to separate us and usher in this new age where every individual person has their inner truth. The early Disney was external truth, and now it's completely inner truth. And that's why this whole follow your heart instead of your brain is causing children to think, oh, if I feel it, it's real. If all I have to do is feel it. If I feel it enough in my heart, it's true. And it's so dangerous because objective truth is so important, and progressive don't have it. They're losing their capacity to discern truth, and because they've redefined truth as being whatever it is that their feelings tell them. And that's chaos, right? When you talk about order and chaos, if the order is when the masculine leads. If you think about the feminine is the river, okay? Sometimes it's calm, sometimes it's like raging, but the masculine are the banks, okay? The man is supposed to be the banks of the river and hold steady and just be present in the moment so that the woman can be who she is. You take those banks away and you have full chaos. So the idea of a patriarchal society is one of order, and the idea of the matriarchal, where the woman is in charge, it's chaos. And they're taking us to chaos, this idea. And also, I would note the New World Order, because they invert everything. I think New World Order actually means Old World Chaos, because the Old World Chaos is when they were sacrificing children and spilling all of this blood and worshiping all of these gods. And I think that's the ultimate goal. I think the ultimate goal is Old World Chaos, not a New World Order.
Bring back Babylon. That's what they want.
Yeah, right.
That's the Greater Israel Project.
And here's a crazy thing. When you look at the fallen angels, okay, so like the book of the Watchers in Enoch, they talk about the fallen angels. Then you look in Egypt, okay, so the pharaohs were believed to be divine. They were believed to be hybrids. So it believed that the pharaohs and kings were human divine hybrids. And when you look at the hieroglyphics, they're giants. They're way bigger. When they're imparting wisdom onto the regular people, but they're smaller. So we have the fallen angels, were these angels that came down and taught man sorcery and magic and all that. And now these Egyptian gods were doing it. Well, they've now found in South America, have you seen the alien carvings that they're taking out of Tula Hidalgo?
Yeah.
So with the alien carvings, it's Egyptian gods that look like alien with the alien eyes. I can't get, you have to have the alien carvings guy, aliencarvings.com.
Look it up.
So I don't know, is that like the one story that they're, or is this like a common thing where we have these beings that come down and try to corrupt us and teach us these things that we
I don't believe in aliens.
It's like giving a monkey a machine gun, right? Like,
yeah. I believe in angels. I
Right,
believe in
right.
I
And, well, I
believe
mean,
in
that-
demons. But yeah, listen, your internet is
Understand.
going crazy right now. I feel like we pushed it with the Trudeaus, and they're starting to lose their mind. That we're dropping too much truth here. We started Disney, we ended with white
They're
body
onto me.
virus, and then we ended with Disney again. Absolutely great.
See,
One more.
I thought I was going to be taking us on the tangents, but you took us on the tangent.
That's all I do. I can't wait to get yelled at by the listeners. One more time, tell them where they can find you.
Okay, so my TikTok is Lise for Truth, Lise, the number 4, Truth. My Twitter handle is my name is Convoy Karen, because I got so sick and tired of being called a Karen on Twitter when I was supporting the convoy that I claimed it. I just took the name, and as soon as I took the name, they stopped calling me Karen. So I am now Convoy Karen on Twitter and Lise for Truth.
I do that
So, yeah,
when they call me
ultimately-
gay.
You just
I
own
just
it.
run with
Just
it.
own it.
You're such a gay. I go, yeah, king of the gays. I run the shit.
Turn around.
Let me show you how gay I am. And they're like, and then you just move on. It's just, it literally is that. It's like, just call you name. If you own it, they fucking
Yeah, well,
move on.
it goes from being a joke to homophobic at that point, and then there can't be homophobic.
You know, I actually
got him.
I dated a demon once, and I told him
What?
I realized he was
You
a demon.
can't tell us
after
that at the
fact.
end. Like,
Yeah,
what?
how do you end with that?
I'll talk about it. But I had said to him at the beginning of the relationship, just don't call me the C word. You can call me anything, but don't call me the C word. And so what did he do every time we fought? He called me the C word, but it desensitized me. So it got to a point I just didn't care anymore. And, you know, I think that if we go back to the N word, I think that probably needs to happen. We need to get to a point where words just don't have an effect on
Sam's
us. If
working
we
on it.
decide a word is going to have such a
I am literally working on that. That is
I know
my
you are,
entire
and you're alone.
purpose.
I'm not helping you with that.
There are some people out there trying, you know, but it's coming. And I don't think people are excited about that, but it's a better place to be.
If it ever happens, you're going to be on the list of who got it done.
No, I will never get credit. Some young shiny person will come in, get all the
Yeah.
credit.
It'll be on the front of Time magazine. The N word is dead.
Yeah, and then it will show him. And now people are like, you were doing that forever. I go, welcome
Michael
to my
Che killed the N word.
Yeah. All right, great show. Thank you so much. Looking forward
This is so much fun.
to having you back on. Okay, let's break down the episode. All right, what'd you guys think of Lisa besides the internet?
Yeah, she must have pissed off some Indians because that tech support is not serving her.
I know the Grimerica guys are going to hear what you said about the indigenous, and
Oh yeah,
I'm going to get a
that was-
stern call.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh?
That's
yeah.
a stern call. I'm going to get it. I feel it.
Well, it's funny. I was reading online about it when she said that, and it does appear it's only been confirmed by ground penetrating radar up to this point, which has difficulty distinguishing between skeletons and rocks and just earth being moved from. So they haven't actually confirmed the mass graves. With I mean, kids are going to die at a large school. Like they had thousands of kids exposed to new diseases, so there are going to be some deaths from that. So obviously there are going to be some graves, but a mass grave is an entirely different
Yeah,
thing. And
100%.
Apparently that's where the debate is whether they've confirmed
17
those.
million though? 17 million to go dig it up. I think you should at least make a hole. At least act like
Well,
you
they're
did
not.
something.
I mean, it's not all. It wouldn't all be at one
But
school,
like
right?
it's like, listen, we know that what happened to the natives in America was really bad, right? We know that.
yeah.
But like, the First Nation people of Canada, I would be doing the exact same thing. Give us your house. They're like, what? Dude, this is our territory. Give us your. I would be shooting for the sun. Like that guy in Berkeley when he was like, they were debating reparations. He's like, the real number is 500 million. I would shoot for the fucking stars. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you should go back to Turkey and try to get some reparations from Turkey.
Good luck
That's
on
what you
that.
should do, yeah.
Yeah, right.
They're going to put up with that.
They'll give you a free hair job, maybe. If you
Yeah,
want
they'll give
one.
me a free hole in my head. That's what they'll give me.
See,
dude.
what they should do is, what does America do? They give them the worst parts of the county. Like Indian reservations are like the worst. Like Temecula is fucking hot. That shit sucks.
Yeah, but then they give them casinos. And then what's interesting is that you see the corruption within the tribes, that the people running the casino keep all the money. They just keep all the money. So it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously, You go far enough in any group, you'll see some darkness. I'm not saying it. And like white body virus, it's like it was all the fucking British. Like the British made all white people look bad. And nobody here, Johnny, do you have any British in you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Johnny fucked everything up. The rest of us are just hanging out, trying to be cool people, and your people are going around raping.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Irish, Scottish, and English, and Swedish.
Spaniards fuck some shit up
2%
too.
Cameroon.
French did too. Oh, you got some Cameroon in you?
Yeah, dog.
Who did the DNA test?
I'm wondering about that. My sister did.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I want my brother to do it so badly so I can find out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out I'm not fucking Sicilian, and I'll be so freaking pissed.
Dude, imagine you're not Asian.
Yeah, I am. If I'm not Armenian,
Yeah,
like
if you're Armenian.
that'd be so hard seeing that my family literally came here from Armenia, and they were like, "Dude, we just passed through," and it was like, we just signed up Armenia because nobody was coming in on that country.
That's so funny. Yeah. It was the first on the alphabet, so we just
I just checked the first box, and they were like, "We've been looking for Armos. Come on in." Yeah, but Disney is crazy. Like how many times they killed the parents.
And we say Disney as shorthand, but it wasn't just Disney. It was like Land Before Time was a movie that, I mean, that traumatized the shit out of me. And that's where at the very beginning, the mother dinosaur dies. I mean, I can't watch it and think about it now without getting a little teary-eyed. It was, I mean, very
Johnny, if you can cry, dude, that'd be great
sad.
for ratings.
You always say that.
Was that the first movie you cried to, Johnny? I mean, if you remember, no.
I don't remember.
Well, because my parents told me the first movie I cried to, they took me to go watch Lion King, and I was like 2 or 3. And they literally said, "Oh, you cried when the
faggot."
Yeah, a little bit of faggot, fucking 3 or 4. But so the dad gets trampled. The dad gets trampled by the antelope, and my mom says I start crying. She said she felt bad for taking me to watch. She's like,
Pussification
just cried, and then you didn't want to be there no
I
more.
wouldn't take my kids to see that. I like the first
Lion
movie.
King? Yeah.
The Lion King
That was the first movie they
That
took
was
you
sad.
to was
at
Lion
a theater,
King.
at a movie theater. Like,
Mine
yeah,
was
obviously.
Dogman, which is a weird name if you think about it.
Dogman?
Yeah, Dogman. It's about this man who gets turned into a half dog and he fights crime. It's a very famous kids.
I think my first movie was probably like Turner and Hooch.
I know what my first movie was.
It's not
and
this
it's
one.
Dark. Yeah, that's Dogman.
That's the one you watched? Oh,
No, that's
kids,
why I
your
took my
kids.
kids. That's my daughter's
I took my
first
nephew
movie.
to that. Yeah.
Was it nothing like
Nothing.
nothing
Oh, I thought you meant-
traumatic?
I mean, you
Your
could
first
watch and be like, "There's that. There's that. There's that."
Ricky Gervais did a great job in that. His voice.
Like I was telling you about the Kung Fu Panda TV show.
Yeah.
About how there's a scene in there in which the demon's like, "Just sacrifice your children, and I'll give you all your dreams."
It's crazy. I think probably my first movie was Turner and Hooch. Remember
What?
that? Yeah. My dad would take me to see like fully adult movies. Like I saw Blue Chips. Remember that movie with Nick Nolte where he's like a basketball coach and they're like bribing players? I saw A River Runs Through
Is that
It.
Shaq was in that?
Yeah, Shaq, Penny Hardaway. Yeah, it was great, man. It was a
But this
great
is the movie you watched?
Turner and Hooch. That's not that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, well, that dog gets really fucked up in the movie or something, I think, and then ends up saving the
My
dog.
first movie, guess what it was? Peter Pan.
That tracks,
Oh,
yeah.
that's a pretty good one.
Why is
The
that?
one with like the woman playing the little.
No, like it was the animation. I'm
original.
old, Johnny.
Oh, well, no, but there's a really old one where that's live action where it's
No.
like a woman playing Peter
No,
Pan.
no.
What was that movie?
That one right there, down there. That's the one I saw. Nope, over.
This one right
That
here.
one. That's what I went and saw. That was the first movie I ever saw in the movie theater.
Oh, it was a TV movie in 1960 is the one that I'm thinking of where Peter Pan is portrayed by a woman. Because
I think that's it right there. Right? Is that the woman that butch lesbian?
Because you've heard the theory of Peter Pan, how he's supposedly taking the kids because he doesn't want.
He's the bad guy
He's
in
the
the
bad guy.
movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If
But
you
they
watch
get
the
you
theory,
to root for him. Hook is trying to stop him.
Batman 1989. I might have seen that one too, actually, as a very young child. Yeah.
So that explains why you're so fucked up.
That's why I love cinema because I started out with real movies, baby. By the
I'm
way,
not gonna lie. Those, you watch like grown.
So
grown
you
adult
saw the
didn't
one
give a
with
fuck,
Jack
bro.
Nicholson in it was your
yeah.
So
Loved
what'd
it.
you when he goes, "This city needs an enema"? Were you like, I don't know what that
No
means?
idea. Yeah, I would have had no idea. I mean, I was barely old enough to hold my own popcorn probably in that movie. So it's
Back when like those movies were great, dude.
oh, I loved them. I just showed my nephew the Nolan Batman movies. They're still great, man. Every one of them.
Oh yeah,
They're
dude.
they're the best superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, they were
forget
the
about them,
perfect
but-
combination of like Hollywood magic and story writing.
Yeah, perfect.
You know?
Nolan.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what happens when you let somebody real talent loose on even a. I hope the Odyssey is going to be good.
Johnny, do you think there's any chance the Odyssey is good when that trans is playing the guy?
That's not confirmed, by the way. That was
and
a
then
guess.
the black chick is playing.
That's not confirmed. The Oracle, right? Yeah, but that's not confirmed. That was speculation, is what I saw. We'll see if it's true. I hope it's not true.
I mean, click that. The Odyssey Facebook right there, over, up, there. Click that. Elliot Page is going to play Troy or some shit? Was it top and bottom? Like, who could it be?
I could totally see that happening, by the way. But
yeah, and guess who's not going to go watch that movie? Everybody.
if it gets good reviews, I will be there.
Johnny loves trans.
Okay,
Come on, his name is not Elliot Page. What's his name?
No, I love great film. Elliot Page is his name now. It used to be Ellen Page. Why fans think Elliot Page is playing Achilles? Oh, Achilles in the New rumors about Achilles. That's like a guy. So Elliot Page, man, she's pretending to be a guy. Why not? It's just acting. It's just more acting, right?
You're acting and you're acting.
Yeah, it's like she's used to acting. New rumors about the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's blah blah blah, suggest that Elliot Page could be playing Achilles, the champion of the Trojan War. Rumors have also claimed that Lupita Nyong'o is playing Helen of Troy, which has already sparked backlash online, including criticism from tech billionaire Elon Musk.
Yeah, and even this is the whole point when people cry about blackface. You're like, they're shoehorning black people into traditional white roles. Like, what are we talking about here? Anyways, if you want traditional white roles, go to Sam.
Greeks were kind of swarthy, though, to be fair. I mean, pretty dark-looking people, especially back then.
You're filthy, Johnny. This Monday, I am running my special. It's going to be at the Hollywood Comedy Store, Belly Room, running it. Please grab tickets. Somebody grab a ticket, please. I'm shoot my special. Then Costa Mesa, Albuquerque, the 1,000th episode. And we're going to stop here. I've just added, I don't know what, if you don't go back to the events.
That's fucking thumbnail is so fun.
I'm going to be in Miami 2 nights, Friday, Saturday night. I'm at the Comedy Inn, 2 shows. I don't know why 3 shows actually. 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. Come get weird. Go back to the website and I got to spend a lot of time on it. Johnny loves the blow up doll for Mega Fuck Slut. Yeah. Mega Fuck Slut. Get in my email, dude. Get in my email list. Please, I got shows coming up. I'm going to be banging out a ton of fucking episodes. Sorry, guys. I got so busy. Cash Daddy's Patreon, Johnny, real quick.
Yeah, how he's crushing it over there. He's made some good calls recently, and we're all just waiting for this breath, apparently, according to Howie there. Yeah, he was talking about, tech is getting ready to head for a downturn. We all kind of feel. That's the sense from Howie, so you got to be prepared
I think these AI centers are going to start to fucking crash and burn. I think people are so over them. Yeah. I think you're going to see. Go back. That's about it. Go if you want to see the best doc on stand-up comedy. Watch Dying Laughing. Go down. Chaos Twins. I got nothing. I'm trying. And buy gold and silver. Check it out. And then energize your health. T-shirts are going. If you got ideas for T-shirts, let me know. I need some new ones. And then Chemical Free Body. Love it. Took it right before the show. Anything else?
Hit that like button, subscribe. Go check out my podcast, XG Marks the Spot, please.
And we have a new Broken Sim. We're talking about the alien disclosure and all that shit.
And if you go to youtube.com/tinfoilhatofficial, you can support the show. Help. Our numbers are slowly going up. And then you can check out my live, my 5th crowdwork special. Everyone loves it. Sam Tripoli comedy. Right there. It's called Hero. Click that. That'd be fun. Yep, right there. Hero. Bang. So check it out. Finally, World War debate. Everyone loves it. I should have news on it very soon. I'm working on it, guys. I'm sorry. Chaos Twins World War debate. I promise you news is coming. Back to the show. I thought Lisa was great. Sorry about the internet. It was going in and out because she's getting too true. Talking too much truth.
Yeah, it's funny. She said she went to her friend's house for better internet. Right. And maybe she should have stayed at home. It seems like.
I wonder how that would have gone. But it's so crazy that that she's dropping bombs, and it just got worse and worse and worse.
Do you think you're ever gonna have a 2-hour conversation with a teacher at your school?
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you. So they had an after-school special, after-school event where the kids could go and learn pottery. So Dana decided she just wanted to go there to make sure Billy was okay with it. So she went there, and these two people came in, and the one woman's like, "Hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. My pronouns are blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah." And these are 6-year-olds. And Dana told me, I'm like, out. We're not doing it. Out. And she goes, she's so nice. I don't care. There's no reason for you to bring sexual shit up in front of 6 years old. Okay? You shouldn't do it. They're 6.
Imagine trying to explain that to a 6-year-old.
And Johnny, I say it all the time. My kids are learning ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Trans, genders, that's all advanced algebra. Like, what are we fucking doing here?
Oh, it's not for now.
You're still explaining he, she to them.
Yeah.
And you want to add they, them, and then like, well, they don't mean them. We be like, you know how it is. Well, them coming like.
I mean, my nephew's 8, and he was talking about. The other day, he said, "My dad said I came out of his balls."
It's kind of true.
He's got no understanding, though. I mean, it's like he's kind of.
You came out of my balls.
I mean, he just asked the craziest questions.
Because you're right. Because I'm sure she has kids. That girl, the lady that she was talking about her pronouns, she's got kids.
You
and
think
kids,
she has kids?
or
The pronoun lady?
Well, no, but she's taking care of some kids, and then those kids might tell your kids. Is what I'm trying to say. Even though, like, it's not.
It's
Yeah.
like the kid who tells everybody Santa ain't real.
Yeah,
You know?
some kid's gonna tell your kid about
And again,
pronouns.
it's like a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. He had like one of his like 20-something-year-old relatives decide to transition, and she told he put everybody put everybody in a text thread to announce it, and he even put like the 13-year-old girl in it. And then in the text, he was like, she, he, she, whatever. It was like, what are your pronouns? I want to send you art. And my buddy lost it. And it's like, no, man, don't do that. They're kids. Let them live their lives. You want to do it. He's like, you didn't support me. It's like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Get the fuck out of here. You're talking that shit to kids? That's like disgusting. You chose your path. Go have a good time. I wish you nothing but happiness. Leave the kids alone.
Yeah, they don't need it. What? You're going to be offended if a kid calls you by
Misery
the wrong
loves
pronoun?
company, dude.
Come on.
It's all about subversion, dude. I got subverted. You're going to get subverted. You know, it's like the women in the Epstein.
I would just rather get rid of pronouns. Like, let's just get rid of all the
They're
fucking
not
pronouns.
real.
We don't need them.
It's not real. Nobody uses pronouns anymore.
Yeah, get rid
when
of
you
the
meet
fucking
somebody as like someone who uses pronouns now is like someone who refers to black people as colors. You're like, we don't do that anymore.
Hi, I'm Johnny. I have a dick. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's just-
Well, that's what I've been saying we got to do with bathrooms now. Dicks and pussies. Dicks going here, pussies going here. It's not about gender.
you solved the problem. There
Solve
you
the
go.
problem. If you got a dick, you're going in fucking here.
Yep. So
You know, to find a way. What if I'm transitioning? What if it's in between?
Dude, show us your cut off dick. You got to prove you cut your dick off. You got to keep it in like some fucking weird kind of wax or something.
yeah, just put it on a necklace around.
Yeah,
and keep
you
it around
gotta
your
get
neck.
embalmed.
Yeah, keep it
Send it to you.
like a rabbit's foot.
Pull it
Yeah.
out. Here it is.
On
Pull
your
it back
keychain,
in your
yeah.
purse.
You know it's gonna be a small one.
Yeah.
Ain't no one cutting no big shit
Yeah,
off.
no one's cutting a fat slong
Yeah,
off.
dude, it's all these little.
Everyone's
ass
like
things.
just cutting off their fucking inchers.
I want to know what's the biggest one that's ever been cut. The doctor.
Yeah, doctor's like,
I can't do that.
like,
I'm
Are
going
you
to be
sure?
here all day.
Are you sure? I'm going to need you to sign some extra paperwork before we do this.
He just gets out. 2 doctors get out and they just start sawing.
Just crying the whole time, just weeping. The guy's wiping away tears as they're sawing.
It was such a beautiful dick. I can't believe you're destroying
What a
this.
waste.
For a hole, you got to put a plug in
Can't
for
we
the
just
rest
wait
of your
until
life.
somebody
Put
comes
that
in
in
and have
there.
their dick
Just-
cut off first?
Just gives it back to you. He's like, stick that in there.
Like a John Bobbitt type comes in, we can stick it on him. Let's just wait.
What
That's
if
a
we
crazy
found
story.
out that like one guy that just transitioned, somehow your body's chemicals match up and your body won't reject it? And they're like, we just figured this out. He just cut off like a fucking 10-incher. I could sew it on.
I wonder if you could do that. Let's see. Could you do a penis transplant?
No, yeah, because I was watching this documentary of this girls who chop off men's dicks, and I can get
well, they did it with John Bobbitt.
Yeah.
But penile transplants are experimental, highly complex surgeries performed only in extreme cases of tissue loss, such as I'm talking about like somebody else's dick, though, like a transplant, such as traumatic injury, disease, severe surgical complications. While successfully performed a handful of times worldwide, this is not a routine procedure and involves significant ethical, psychological, and surgical considerations, including lifelong immune suppression. Interesting. So it's like getting anything else. Ooh. The primary goal is restoring function, urination, and sexual function, and providing a sense of wholeness to patients who cannot undergo traditional reconstruction. Ooh.
If you're an organ donor, that's in there.
All right, guys. Great episode. Blessings. A lot of fun.